Hi everyone and welcome to Bonnie's Best Creations, and I'm so glad you joined me today. I thought you'd like to join me in my process of watercolor, and hopefully it might give you a little bit of inspiration as you see me work. I'm using a number of different watercolors from different palettes, so I really am not listing any of the colors I'm using. It's whatever is on my palette, that's what I use. But I love pink roses, and this is what I'm doing today. So I'm working on cold pressed cotton paper, and my paints are quite watery, and I'm using a number 4 fine tip brush. And as you can see, I'm just working and dabbing here and there, adding water. Just nothing, just very loose. Everyone paints a different way with a different technique, and this is how I work. So I just use, I might use a deeper color pink, lighter. It's whatever happens to be on my palette. Just wiping and swiping, making sure to leave some white. Always leaving some white spaces. That's what makes watercolor so interesting. And as this paint dries, it blends so miraculously. I love it. I cannot videotape and talk at the same time. I find watercolor to be very reflective. So many things are swarming in my head these days. And somehow when I sit down to paint, my focus is redirected. And there's a peace and a calmness. Even if I make mistakes, even if it doesn't go the way I want, it's okay. It's a quiet time. So there's going to be some pauses as I continue to paint. If ever you have any questions for me, you feel free to ask. I'm definitely not a professional. I just have fun. If I have a few minutes at any time, I will just go into my room and sit. I don't know about you. I can't wait for the garden to bloom. January can be quite a bleak month, can't it? And I know that so many people are going through such difficulties. But if you can use some of your skills or to redirect your thoughts, it sure helps. It sure helps me. So you can see that I am always moving my paper around, just swiping whatever I think is pleasing to my eye. I love the olive green green. It's just so rich. Sometimes I go heavier on my my green and sometimes lighter. What do you reflect on when you're focused or you need to refocus your life? I think about people and often take this time to, even as I'm sitting calm, to pray for them. And it's amazing these days that we have all the technology of texting and email. So often I will stop what I'm doing and just send a person a quick text just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you today. So I'm going to just play a little bit of music and hope that you like the process of these roses. I choose in moments like these to let my mind wander, not concentrating so much of where I want my brush to go. I just do it, using all the bristles of my brush. Sometimes the tip, sometimes the full flat edge.
It's okay to take time for yourself and to step away from the busyness of your world. Sometimes I think as women or men, we always think we should be doing something. But sometimes it's good just to be quiet and do those things that help you to regain some kind of energy or inspiration, just to clear your mind or just focus on the quietness. We need that in our lives. You know that our world is a mess and there's a lot of chaos going on, and even in your own family there's some chaos going on, but we need to be strong for those people somehow. So that's what I do. As you watch my videos, you'll see that I have so many interests. Baking. I also love to encourage people and pray for people, and I love home decor, and it's these things that just help my mind just to relax and ponder over the things that are important. As you see, I'm just using the tip of my brush just to kind of add some detail of the petals of the roses with a deeper color. And if the line is too harsh, I will wet my brush and water down those lines so that they blend a little bit better. And always use a deeper red or purple to just intensify, to give the eye to look at the deeper center of the rose. Lots of times I have to step away from my painting. I get frustrated because sometimes I just overthink it and see imperfections and get frustrated. It's like that with any part of our life. If we think we should be perfect, we need to step away and reevaluate our lives of what's important, and we are far from being perfect, right? See, these are the things that go through my mind as I create, and then I pray about it. Lord, if you see any imperfections in my life, correct me. Help me to look at things from your perspective and not my own. I added just a few dots of blue to give a different focus, a different color, to mimic maybe a different kind of flower, and to add a variation to my art painting. Sometimes you can overwork things and you have to learn just to stop. And because you can go overboard, and so you have to learn where you want to connect those leaves, use your lines, any detail of the leaves, creating a little bit of a bud there. It's just actually playing, having fun. We're allowed to do that. How do you have fun? I'd love to hear from you and hear the things that you like to do. My other passion is making bread. I can let out a lot of anxieties and frustrations in just kneading that dough. So what do you do? Now here I use a micro pen that is waterproof, and I've had fun with doing some doodling and using that fine tip pen, micro pen. I think it was 01 that I used just to outline a little bit more of the petals and the lines. I find this doodling just so encouraging. I don't follow the exact line of the leaf. I make it maybe jaggedy or outside, as you can see. It's so this doodling I do a lot in my art. And I mean, some people, they might sit and just like to doodle on any piece of paper if they're sitting, I don't know, like it in journaling or in margins of paper. it's not, it's simple, but it's very, very relaxing to do that. So a lot of my art, I will use the doodling. So that's worth a try. You don't have to outline every detail. You can if you want. It draws your eye to a different part of the leaf or the rose, and that's what I'm doing. I'm going to use just around some of those roses. I think so often we compare ourselves to other people. You look at other people's art and say, I can't do that. Mine will never look like that. But we're not to compare ourselves to each other. This is about just relaxing, taking the time for yourself. And you know, with practice, it becomes a little bit more refined. Anything I do, art, baking, I always give it away most of the time. My artwork I will turn into cards, frame them. My bread, I'm always thinking of who might need an encouragement in a nice loaf of bread or a meal. There's something about doing something for somebody else. See, I'm just using that pen to deepen the rose a little bit more. And I do swirls and scrolls and add some dots. You could add bubbles or little swirls. Well, here is a piece of art that I've turned into a card. There's another piece of painting that I set aside and showing you a little bit more of the detail that I do with doodling. It's good to let your painting dry before you start the doodling. My other piece that I was working on at the beginning, I wanted to get at it, but I had to restrain myself. So I put it aside and started coming back to another piece, just this one, and thought I would show you how I see how I go outside of the leaf. I don't necessarily follow in the swirls. It's worth a try. I encourage you to give this way of doing things a try. Nothing has to be perfect. Every rose in the garden, every flower, you look at it and there's beauty in the imperfections. Like I said at the beginning, God looks at our lives and He loves us anyway, despite our imperfections. And that's how I often look at artwork and try to examine my life and to rely on Him more. The goodness of God, the love of God. I sure hope you've liked spending these reflective moments with me. I would love to hear from you, like I've said, and see if this inspires you to give it a try. I always like to add a little bit of a sentiment to the card, and sometimes you can use a stamp, or you can cut out a word or that, but I find that if I like to make it very personable. So I will use a ruler, and with this fine tip pen, just use my ruler to make it as straight as I can, and just put a little word in joy. So in the inside of the card, I might just say, I hope this card brings you some joy today, to let you know that I'm thinking of you. This one I wrote just for you.
Hearts, scrolls, dots, add a little detail to a beautiful rose. Thanks for joining me today.